Is it actually possible to infinitely warp into infinite life, infinite damage, and infinite mana? That's what we're going to find out today. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. And this week, we're heading to Standard to see if we can warp our way into infinite life, infinite mana, and infinite drain. So let's talk about our infinite warp combos deck, what it's trying to do, jump into some games, see the deck in action. So our deck today has two different, somewhat related combos. And the first combo, you might have seen before. You've probably actually never seen anyone do it, but almost as soon as Edge of Eternius was spoiled, there was like a Reddit post, I think, or a tweet, or some post on social media with someone talking about there's this new 4-card combo in Standard with Peregrine Beckoner. So Peregrine Beckoner, if you don't know what it is, don't worry, it's not a card anyone has ever played before, well, except for us today apparently, but it's a 5-mana 4/5 horror. It warps for 2, and when it enters, until end of turn, another target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains, when it dies, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So our combo needs not just one, but 2 Peregrine Beckoners, and the idea is, if we get 2 Peregrine Beckoners, we can combine them with Umbral Collar Zealot, a free sack outlet, to get infinite death triggers. So the idea is this: let's say we have Umbral Collar Zealot. We warp a Peregrine Beckoner, then we warp the second one, targeting the first one with its ability. Then we can use Umbral Collar Zealot to sack the first one. We get to Surveil, which is a nice little bonus. The first Peregrine Beckoner dies, it comes back into play, it targets the second one, then we can sack the second one. It dies, we get to Surveil, it comes back into play, it targets the first one. Essentially, we can just keep sacrificing forever. So by itself, all this really does is give us infinite Surveils, which is still kind of nice, but it's not going to win us the game. To win the game, we need one more piece, which is a Blood Artist effect. So a Vengeful Blood Witch or a Sephiroth, something that drains for 1 whenever a creature dies. So if we add either of these to the loop, we just win the game on the spot with our infinite drain. We also have a couple of cards to help us find our combo pieces, in Overlord of the Baelmerc and Dredger's Insight. So since all of our combo pieces are creatures, these cards are just great ways to dig through our deck, find our Umbral Collar Zealots, our Blood Artists, our Peregrine Beckoners. Dredger's Insight also super funny in the deck. If we have the Peregrine Beckoner combo, but we don't have a Blood Artist effect, but we do have a Dredger's Insight, whenever a card leaves our graveyard, we gain a life. So we get to gain infinite life, which in paper would actually be kind of absurd. We could just be like, here's our loop, we're going to gain 20 billion life. On Arena, it's more like gain 50 life or something before we time out, but we can still gain a ton of life with the combo. We also have a second combo, which our Overlords and Dredger's Insight help support, which is Karo Goldkeeper combo. And I'm pretty excited for this one, because Karo Goldkeeper is a card that as soon as it was spoiled in Tarkir Dragonstorm, the first time I read it, I was like, this card has to be broken somewhere. It's a 4-mana 3/3 Sultai Flyer, and its ability is when one or more cards leave your graveyard during your turn, create a treasure token. And notice there is no restriction on that. There's no once per turn or anything like that. So this combo, we need a Karo Goldkeeper, then we need a Timeline Color or Forsaken Miner. Let's go with Timeline Color. Timeline Color, 2-mana 2/2 with haste that we can warp for 1 mana and 2 life, but we can warp it from our graveyard. So the idea is, let's say with a Karo Goldkeeper, we can warp a Timeline Color from our graveyard to make a treasure. Then we sack the Timeline Color to Umbral Collar Zealot, so it goes back into our graveyard. Then we can warp it again, we make a treasure. The treasure pays for the warp cost. So this lets us warp infinitely, except for the fact that we have to pay 2 life. So we would run out of life eventually. But if we have, let's say, a Blood Artist effect, a Vengeful Blood Witch, or a Sephiroth, hopefully we just win the game as long as our life total is higher than our opponent's life total when we start the combo. We win the game with just a single Blood Artist effect. Because what essentially happens with a single Blood Artist effect as we go through the loop is each player loses a life. Our opponent loses a life from Vengeful Blood Witch. Our opponent loses a life from the Vengeful Blood Witch or the Sephiroth. We lose a life from warping the Timeline Color because we get 1 back from the Blood Artist, but we have to pay 2. If we add like a Dredger's Insight to the mix, then we are fully infinite. We're gaining back 2 life, we're spending 2 life, we get back the treasure. We can just warp as many times as we want. We also get infinite Surveils out of the mix. If we ever have 2 Karo Goldkeepers, then we also make infinite mana. If we add Karo Goldkeeper to our first combo, we also get infinite mana. So this deck, if we can get the right 4 or 5 cards on the battlefield can go infinite in a whole bunch of different ways, and that's essentially the deck. Otherwise, we get a little bit of removal, mana base, pretty typical stuff, and that is our infinite warp combo, and that's our Against Odds deck for this week. So let's jump into some games and see if it's actually possible to pull off these super janky combos in our very powerful standard format. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats, tokens, and more over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. It is finally time to see if we can do some infinite warping in standard. And this hand is a little sketchy because we're a very black heavy deck and we don't have any black mana, but we do have a Dredger's Insight, which is a combo piece, and hopefully it'll find us black mana. Oh, let's see if this works. Found it. Deathcat Marionette. Sure, wants to fill the graveyard, I guess. Does a little milling. Well, let's play the Verge. Get down the Dredger's Insight. See if we can please hit a black source. Okay, there's the Swamp in there. Man, there's multiple. We'd really like the Sephiroth or the Pure Beckoner, but opponent has a bat. We gotta take the black mana. Well, I imagine they have to take the Tragic Trajectory here. Otherwise, it just kills the bat, and then what is even the point of any of this? you just gotta take the removal. We do have Archmage's turn, but we still need 2 more black sources to cast it, so not happening soon. Opponent leads us down to, ooh, Starting Town. That is actually a good draw. Well, let's get down the Umbral Collar Zealot. Combo piece part 1.5. So what do we need to win the game with this deck? There's a couple of combinations, but they all involve Umbral Collar Zealot. Like, we have to have the free sack outlet. Then some combination of, like, Blood Artist to Pure Beckoners does it. Kiryu Goldkeeper and a Warp Creature does it. There's a whole bunch. Hopefully we see some of them. Well, let's play the Blood Artist. Let's warp the Timeline Color down to 16. And do a little sacking. Gotta get our Blood Artist value here. Vengeful Blood Witch, drain ya. And ooh, there's the Beckoner. I mean, we came here to try to do this combo, so I think we gotta keep it, although we do need a second one, and I'm not sure how we find, well, so we find more black mana. If we find more black mana, we can Archmage's Charm to get back the second Beckoner from the graveyard. But we know we're drawing a Beckoner next turn, which isn't going to do anything right away. That's the kind of the risk of keeping it, right? Is, yes, it's a combo piece. Yes, it can win us the game. No, it doesn't do anything meaningful next turn. It's basically a dead draw next turn. And that leaves our hand kind of clunky. I guess we can do some warping and just warp and sack to try to stay alive. Oh, Withering Torment. All right. Well, the warp and sack playing gets a little worse now without a Vengeful Blood Witch to do the Blood Artist thing. Pound it. You're gonna bat us down to 14. Well, there's the Beckoner. I mean, maybe we can surveil our way into another Beckoner. If we do, we still need a Blood Artist now to win. Although we gain infinite life with Dredger's Insight, so I guess that's still a combo. Although infinite life on Arena is not actually infinite. Well, opponent, gonna block. We're gonna let that go. Get rid of the Marionette. I was going to trade with something eventually. Let's sack the Timeline Collar. We wouldn't mind another black source, but I don't really want it to be Starting Town. At this point, we'd rather find... So what do we need to win? The easiest way to win from here is another Beckoner and a Blood Artist effect. Those, like Sephiroth or the Vengeful Blood Witch, that would be the easiest. Another Beckoner by itself is infinite life, which is probably like 10. Pound it. Coiling, oh my god, that's a Beckoner. Coiling Rebirth, double Marionette Master. Does some milling. Okay, well, there's a Urani in there. That's an issue. Well, okay. I mean, we can gain infinite, quote-unquote, life here. Well, here's the combo. Pure Beckoner. Warp it. When it enters, another creature gets +2/+1. When it dies, it returns to play tap this turn. We'll target the Umbral Collar Zealot. Now, we warp the second Beckoner. Target the first one. So now we got an infinite loop, right? So we can sack the Beckoner. It comes back into play. That's going to target the new Beckoner. And we gain a life for the Dredger's Insight. Mill the land. And then we do it again. So the only problem, so if we had a Blood Artist here, a Sephiroth, the Vengeful Blood Witch, we just win the game. Like, it's easy and simple as that. The problem is, because we don't have those, all we can do is gain some life. And in paper, this would probably be the win, because we'd be like, oh, we're going to do this loop, and we're going to go to 20 million life. Can you win from 20 million life, opponent? Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way in Arena. So we can probably gain like 15 life, which is definitely not infinite. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have more reanimation. If they have more reanimation, since we're not actually... do we keep the Sephiroth? The other problem with the combo at the moment... Well, I guess we can set it up over 2 turns with Sephiroth. Yeah, we're gonna mill it. So the thing about the double Perigee Beckoner combo is it is basically a one-shot, right? Because it's dependent on the creatures having entered the battlefield. So once we pass the turn, the loop is off the table. So it's not like we can just infinitely sack again next turn. So we got to gain a bunch of life this turn and hopefully set up. I don't even know. Another Beckoner and Overlord to get back the Beckoner. I mean, we do have the Archmage's Charm. So the easiest way to do this is probably just like gain life, live, and then Archmage's Charm back 2 combo pieces. Get back a Sephiroth. Get back another Beckoner, and then go off that way. All right. I don't know how long I can do this. Kiro Goldkeeper is pretty sweet. That is actually... So Kiro Goldkeeper lets us go infinite with the timeline colors. We already have a Dredger's Insight. So we can Kiro Goldkeeper, Archmage's Charm back a Blood Artist, and then win that way. All right, we're going to keep the Goldkeeper. We're just going to get a bit more life. I don't know how long Arena will let us do this. I'm not going to test it now, but at some point we might be forced to test it. I mean, the good news is, well, okay, if our opponent has another reanimation spell, we're kind of screwed, which is sad because technically we have infinite life, but we're just going to go to 22 here because I'm tired of clicking. Oh, Arena. If they have more reanimation, which... After reanimating Marionette, whatever that is, like, they might, because that is a pretty weak reanimation target. But if they reanimate the dragon, the Urani, then we're kind of, sort of dead, even though we technically gained infinite life. Arena. So we need probably at least 2 turns to win. Next turn we can play the Goldkeeper, double timeline color, make 2 treasures, sack them. Like, it doesn't win us the game, but it's a good little value turn. And then, in theory, the treasures let us combo kill the next turn. Well, all right. Let's see another one of our combos, which, again, is not 100% complete because we don't have a Blood Artist, but Kiro Goldkeeper. So now when something leaves the graveyard during our turn, we get a treasure token. For some reason, there's no once per turn limit on this card, which is wild to me. I remember when this was spoiled, I was like, oh my god, this card's got to be broken. And then this is the first time we've really played it, and it is really broken with the combo. So now we get to warp a timeline color, make a treasure, gain a life with Dredger's Insight. Oh, instant speed reanimate. We should be at 20 million life. Well, they only get 5 damage, but that is still enough. And the bigger issue is Urani has protection from black, which means we literally are never going to kill it. And since our infinite life was only 22, I guess we should have kept clicking. Maybe it's my fault for not clicking more. I think they got, well, somehow we gained infinite life and we're still gonna lose. Well, anyway, we got to see an example of the combo. Sadly, our opponent's removal kept us from actually winning the game with it, but that's the idea. Imagine there was a Blood Artist on the battlefield, a Sephiroth on the battlefield, and we were doing all those things. Then we'd be winning the game. Unstoppable Slasher. Yeah, I mean, I think we're just gonna scoop just because... Well, we'll draw another card. I guess if there's some... Shoot the Sheriff, that'd be good if it could target Urani. Yeah, I mean, we just... Because of the pro black, I don't think we can win, and I don't think we can draw enough cards to reassemble the combo before we die. We gained infinite life and still lost. There should be an achievement for that. Casual, 4-piece combo action here on Against Odds. What else is Against Odds for? This hand I like. I like the double Dredger's Insight. We already got the Umbral Collar Zealot. So 2 Dredger's Insights, an Umbral Collar Zealot lets us infinitely... Well, Not infinitely, because we need the Gold Keeper as well. But it lets us do a lot of scrying and surveilling if we find the Warped Orc opponent. Plains, and now a Fabled Passage. A Plains. Okay, and a Candy Trail. All right, so maybe some sort of artifact deck, I guess? Well, let's play the I guess we play the Verge. This way we don't take any damage. Run out the Dredger's Insight, do a wee bit of milling, and, well, I guess we just take the Surveil Land. We don't really need the Timeline color because we can warp it from the graveyard anyway. We'd rather just have it in the graveyard. Yeah, let's get the Mortuary. It is tap, but the Surveil is nice. Oaken Siren, sure. I mean, I was afraid that was going to be a Simulacrum Synthesizer, and that would be very scary, but that thing is fine. Ramp away with your little octopus. That is fine. Yeah, I guess we just second Dredger's Insight, do a little milling. Wow, a lot of Sephiroth. Yeah, we'll take a backup Sephiroth. So what we'd like to do is next turn, I mean, I guess we warp this because there's, actually, do we warp this? We don't have a sack outlet. If we warp it, then we got to cast it for 2 mana later. Actually, I think we don't warp it. So what we want to do is next turn, we can maybe get down the Gold Keeper, depending on what our opponent does. And then the following turn, we can try to go infinite. Infinite life for sure. Which is 22, which is we're already at. So maybe that's not so good. Opponent's going to sack the Candy Trail, get it with the Octopus, hit us down to 21. We will play the Schwimp. I mean, the artifact deck shouldn't have that much removal, right? We got to be... Yeah, we're going to run out the Dragon. Run out the Gold Keeper. I mean, if we get done tap with this setup next turn, do we actually win? So we warp this, we get a treasure. We pay 2 for this. So next turn we could gain infinite life, but I don't think we're 1 mana short from also getting down the Sephiroth. Shimile. Found it. Gonna discover 5 into a Basilisk Collar. Okay. Yeah, that's allowed. Well, are we gonna gain infinite life again? Are we gonna gain infinite life without having it pay off again? All right, so we can play the Umbral Collar Zealot. Yeah, we're 1 mana short of just winning the game here. Warp the Timeline color, make a treasure. We could play a land and play the Sephiroth, but then we don't have a mana to warp again. We need 1 mana to warp to start the combo, and then we can warp infinitely. Play the Verge. Let's just do it this way. So we don't win this turn, but if our opponent does not interact, we definitely win next turn. Sack the color, draw a card, Sephiroth. Well, Tragic Trajectory, I guess, sure. All right, just don't kill any of our 4 combo pieces opponent. 5 combo pieces. 6. I guess this is a 6 card. Kira Gold Keeper, Umbral Collar Zealot, Sephiroth, 2 Dredger's Insights, although the Dredger's Insights aren't necessary. One of them does help though, because, so the thing is, warping the Timeline color takes 2 life, right? So with just a Sephiroth, we're technically hitting our opponent for 1 and we're taking 1. So if we're at a higher life total, we win. If we're at a lower life total, we run out of life before our opponent does. If we also have Dredger's Insight, then we can literally warp infinitely. We can warp as much as we want and we will win for sure. Opponent, another Candy Trail. Split up. All right. Well, that slows things down a bit. Now we need to find another sack outlet. Opponent, Cryogen Relic. Gonna do a little drawing. And Shimmel, end step. Realm Sketching. Make a copy of a thing. What are we copying, opponent? So Shimmel's Legend. You can copy the Oaken. Copy the, is that a jellyfish? I think it's a jellyfish. Oh, opponent. 4 mana Cryogen Relic. Okay, that's fine. So we need to find another sack outlet. Well, okay, let's Timeline color. Make a treasure. Trigger our stuff. Gain some life. Hit ya. Now we can Sephiroth. Sack the color. Draw a card. Ooh, Overlord is actually insanely good here. You know what? We're gonna kill this random mana dork. So next turn, I think we actually have the mana to win the game. So, under a Mortuary, mill the land. Okay, pass the turn. Okay, let's think about this. So next turn, 2 mana, impend the Overlord. Get back a sack outlet. 2 mana for the sack outlet. 1 mana, yeah, oh, okay. Opponent's going to stun our Kira Gold Keeper. Oh, that is perfectly fine. Assimilation of GSM the Sephiroth. Opponent is so close to death, but they keep finding just enough removal. And there's the simulation. Okay, we're on a clock now. We're on a clock. Well, now we need a Blood Artist effect again. How about just top decking Umbral Collar Zealot? That would solve all these problems. Dredger's Insight. All right. Well, Dredger's Insight. Can we find a combo piece? Well, we're not going on the Peregrine combo here. We'll just get an Overlord. All right, maybe we need 2 turns. Maybe we just Overlord him. Actually, no, we make treasures every time we do this. We might still have enough mana, because every Overlord in Pen that gets back a creature is going to make a mana back with the Gold Keeper, so we might still have enough. Let's in Pen. Let's see what we hit. Wow, can we actually pull this off? So we need Sack Outlet, for sure. 2 mana. Oh my god, I think we're gonna have exactly, oh, what a kill. What a kill. This is exactly it. The dream. And Pen the Overlord. Kira Goldkeeper actually paying off. This time, we get the Blood Artist effect. Vengeful Blood Witch. 4 mana left over. Land, mana number 5. So 2 on the Blood Witch. Wow, exactly. Well, this shows off the power of Kira Goldkeeper. Like, we needed every single one of these treasures, Umbral Collar Zealot, and now we can infinitely warp. Timeline Color, cost 2 life, makes back 4 life at this point, so infinite life again. But this time we got the Vengeful Blood Witch, so our opponent's also taking damage. Sack it, drain you. Yeah, mill, whatever, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna win here. Timeline Color, get it back. Gain 3, so get a treasure, gain 3 from Dredger's Insight, sack it, gain another from the Blood Witch, trade you for 1, and as long as we can do this without timing out, which is my only concern, then we should actually have pulled off the combo. Well, yeah, Kira Goldkeeper. I knew that card had combo potential. I knew it. We just needed the right 5 cards to be printed alongside it. Timeline Color. Trigger the Goldkeeper. We could probably also attack them, but what's the fun in beating down when you can warp infinitely? Well, that was pretty good. That was very good. That was almost exactly, I mean, one of our 2 combos, right? The other one is the Goldkeeper shenanigans, but this is exactly one of the combos we had. Sweet. Meh, this sounds fine. Technically, we don't have many combo pieces, but we do have multiple ways of digging for combo pieces, since all of our combo pieces are creatures, basically. I guess Dredger's Insight's kind of a combo piece, but they're all stuff that we can find with Overlord and with Dredger's Insight. Opponent appears to be Borosig. Well, starting down number 2, Dredger's Insight. Do a little milling. So, well, all right. There's our friend Peregrine Beckoner. One of our combos. Ooh, there's a Goldkeeper too. Okay. So the Beckoner combo, we do need 2 Beckoners. So I don't know how often it's going to come up, because we do need to specifically find 2 copies of the same card. Although the Overlords and the Dredger's Insight definitely help. Ugh. I mean, I guess we're still going to get something back just because it's going to gain us a life, but we don't actually really want to get any of those back. Sure. Get back to Timeline Color. I mean, Timeline Color works the same either place, so it doesn't really matter. Play the tap land. Opponent has the Gold Saucer. Are we gonna flip into a treasure? Yes. Okay. All right. The Gold Saucer paying Ether Spark on an empty board. Sure. The saddest of Ether Sparks. Oh, there's a Blood Artist. Okay. Vengeful Blood Witch is good. We still need the Sack Outlet. Well, I think we just warp and then warp, attack Ether Spark, Sephiroth, sack draw. See if we can find Umbral Collar Zealot. Yeah, get down. Sephiroth. Sack the Timeline Color. Oh. That's an Umbral Collar Zealot. Okay. We're getting close. Oh, all right, there goes Sephiroth. If only our opponents would stop interacting with us, this deck would be so good. If our opponents would stop chainsawing our Sephiroths. Thankfully, our opponent appears to be an equipment deck, and they have just not drawn a creature. They have all the equipment and nothing to equip it on. Well, we are going to get down the Kira Goldkeeper. There's still a shot that we just win the game next turn. Oh, Lightning Strike. All right. Our equipment control opponent over there. Well, there goes the Goldkeeper. So now winning next turn is much less likely. So the Goldkeeper lets the warp stuff go infinite by making a treasure whenever we warp the color. Without the Goldkeeper, we can like do it a few times, but eventually we're gonna run out of mana. Opponent gonna get themselves a mountain. Do you have a creature yet, opponent? The Busters. Even more equipment. This is the literally, oh, that's another Goldkeeper. So it's literally the saddest Ether Spark I've ever seen. This is depressing me, and I'm not even playing it. I mean, yeah, we're gonna spend our treasure. Spend our treasure. We want to keep chipping in at this Ether Spark, because eventually our opponent might draw a creature. And then the Ether Spark might do things. Undercity Sewers, mill the starting town. I mean, we're almost getting our Overlord. Once we get the Overlord, that probably finds us, hopefully, the win. Kellen the Fey-Blooded, sure. Sheltered by Ghosts, oh, on the Goldkeeper. We would have been able to win that turn, I think. But now I think we have to kill the Kellen, because we don't have the Goldkeeper. We needed the Goldkeeper, because we have this Akala and the Blood Artist, and the Dredger's Insight. All right, Warp Timeline Color. But now we need to get back the Goldkeeper. So this lets us Tragic Trajectory. This should mean we win next turn. Opponent's only got one card in hand. So kill the Kellen, pay the ward. I don't think we even care about the Forsaken Miner. Get back the Goldkeeper. Hit the Ether Spark. Well, we did it. We killed the saddest Ether Spark. Play the Vengeful Blood. That Ether Spark did so little. It was on the battlefield. I mean, I guess it soaked up some of our attacks, so it did do something. Opponent, the whole main phase Gold Saucer, not a sign of strength. Well, opponent, I think we are going to combo kill you here. So we have the full setup. We have the Blood Artist. We got the Goldkeeper. We might as well attack first. This is just going to mean less clicks. We don't need this attack to win. We can do it all with the combo, but this is going to mean less clicking, which is always nice. Hit you down to 6. Well, okay. Umbral Collar Zealot. Warp a Timeline. Oh, yeah. Cast, not warp yet. Cast a Timeline Color. Sack the Timeline Color. Drain ya down to 5. Get back the Forsaken Miner. Also a combo piece. And opponent sees the damage stacking up and scoops it up. And okay. That went pretty good. That went pretty good. We can beat the Ether Spark. Finally, seeing if it's possible to win by infinitely warping in Standard, and this hand actually looks pretty good. We got a Goldkeeper, we got an Umbral Collar Zealot, we got a Vengeful Blood Witch. No Peregrine Beckoners, but the thing about Peregrine Beckoner is, the combo's cool. The combo's cool. We already pulled it off once and still lost, but the problem is Peregrine Beckoner is not an especially good card outside of the combo. Yeah, let's get on the Vengeful Blood Witch. Opponent leads on a mountain, which, I don't know, aggro? A brew? I will say, opponent, Burst Lightning. I will say, I've really been enjoying the Mythic 80s on Magic Arena. It seems like a pretty good spot. Like the mid, 80s, you still play against someone like the spiky decks, but you also play against a lot of people that are just like, I made Mythic, I'm gonna play whatever I want, which is actually pretty fun. Double Bolt Wave, eh? Well, can you beat a Vengeful Blood Witch, you Bolt Waver? About it. Another mount. So this is just burn, I guess. Screaming Nemesis. Well, we do have a Shoot the Sheriff. We would like to draw a land. That's not a land. Well, we got to kill this Screaming Nemesis, because gaining life is actually a big part of what our deck's trying to do. And if we let it live, there's a good chance they can, like, Burst Lightning it or something. All right. Well, shock on the Vengeful Blood Witch. That's fine. That's burn that's not hitting our face. Actually, I guess we should attack first, right? We are going to Sephiroth here, but we might as well chip in with the Forsaken Miner first. Wow, Witch Talker. Okay, well, we're kind of okay with that. In that case, I guess we just hard cast a Timeline Color? I cannot believe they spent a Witch Talker's Vengeance on a recursive 2-drop. Fire Spitter Whelp, interesting. So when they cast a 9-creature spell, they get an extra damage. Ooh. A land is actually kind of nice here. Well, let's chip in. If we want to trade, we're kind of fine with that. Opponent takes it. I think we're still going to Sephiroth to gain life. We could run out the Goldkeeper, but then we'd have to shock. And I think the way we lose is like some weird like attack crazy burns, but like double bolt wave would be 8, 9, 10. Like, I don't know. If they have some card draw or something, they could actually kill us. We draw another land. We cannot pay for the Seiken Miner. We can play a breeding pool though. Pass turn. Well, considering how much burn we've taken to the face, full bore on the whelp. Gonna get in, hit us down to 8. I mean, we can potentially go infinite in like 2 turns. Opponent's out of cards. Yeah, we're gonna try to set up for the combo. Run out the Goldkeeper. Warp the timeline color, make a treasure. Hit ya. And we are gonna sack it. We'd rather gain a life here. Yeah, Overlord's not bad. Do we want? Yeah, I guess we get back the Forsaken Miner too. Might as well. We get the treasure back anyway, so it's literally free. The power of Kira Goldkeeper. Well, all right, opponent. We got the sack outlet in hand. You better kill Screaming Nemesis. Good card. However, it does not stop an infinite warp combo. So, we will play a... I mean, I guess we can impend the Overlord too. Kind of, things just get so crazy with Kira Goldkeeper on the battlefield. Overlord's kind of 1 mana to impend because we should get a treasure when we get a Vengeful Blood Witch. Now we can play the Vengeful Blood Witch, and opponent doesn't even wait for the infinite warping, and I mean, we did have the infinite warp. That's how that game would have ended, is us just warping the timeline color and sacking it, but we'll take it. It is infinite warp time, and the sand seems reasonable. Only 2 lands, but we have a Dredger's Insight that we can use to find another one. I already have the Umbral Collar Zealot, which is nice. Also, we have one of our 2 necessary Purity Beckoners, so maybe we can get the Beckoner combo this game. Like, Overlord into another Beckoner. Already got the Umbral Collar Zealot, already got the Sephiroth. GG. Thinking about our turn 1 land drop. And the decision is Swamp. Well, we're going to play land. Get down the Dredger's Insight. Do a little milling. And I think we just got to take a land here. I guess we take Surveil Land. I think we're just playing another Dredger's Insight next turn anyway. Would have been nice to get the Overlord. The Overlord's really nice in this deck, just to get back combo pieces of die, especially against a black deck. They're probably going to have removal. Starscape Cleric, okay. Well, that's Dredger's Insight. This might be one of those infinite life kind of... Oh. I mean, we already got 1 Pure Beckoner. We might as well get a second one and try to set up for the Beckoner loop. Yeah, we need the land. I would like to kill something, but we need a land more than we need a removal spell here. Interesting. Found it. Unholy Annex. Gonna get their card draw going. Hits us down to 18. Can we draw a land, please? A land would be nice. Okay, there's a Watery Grave. We need to get down the sack outlet. Is there any way we can keep it from dying? Not really. Watery Grave untapped. Impending Overlord. Do a little milling. Get back a Umbral Collar Zealot. We're all in on the double Beckoner combo this time. All right, so if we untap with our setup, we get to gain infinite life next turn. We don't have a Sephiroth out though, so we don't get to win. Bloodletter, okay. Bloodletter Aclazotz, sure, opponent. Yes, man, it's gonna be one of those games. Okay, so let's gain some infinite life. I feel like, so it would be nice if we could wait a turn. I'm a little worried we're at 8. I think we just die if we don't gain a bunch of life here. If we just like run out Sephiroth, we're just gonna die to the Unholy Annex and the Bloodletter. So, well, here we go. Period break number 1. Target the Umbral Colors out. Number 2, target the first one. And it's loop time. Yeah, 1 piece short. I mean, that is kind of the issue with this combo, right? To actually win with it, we need so many pieces. We need so many pieces. But we get to do this for a long time. Pure Beckoner, sack it, get it back, target the other Beckoner, gain 2 life, surveil it with a Forsaken Miner, and do it again, and do it again. And let's see how much life we can gain this time. Last time we only gained like 10 life. This time hopefully we gain a bit more. I imagine sooner or later Arena's gonna rope you, right? Like sooner or later Arena's gonna be like, all right, cut it out. But I don't know how much you can realistically gain. I haven't put it to the test to see how much you can realistically gain with this combo. It is somewhat click intensive. You got an Umbral Collar Zealot, click on the Beckoner. Then you need to target with the Beckoner when it returns. Then you need to do the surveilling. So it is 4 clicks to gain 2 life. So I think, I mean, hopefully we get more than 22 this time. I promise if this keeps happening, I'll start speeding it up or something. I'm not going to make y'all... I'm not going to make you all sit through the click simulator every time we combo. I'm not actually exactly sure what we're looking for here. We're kind of just gaining life and filling the graveyard. So, what is our most realistic way? We would like to mill some timeline colors. I think in our dream world, we have the Sephiroth in hand. We have another Umbral Collar Zealot. So I think the play is this. I think we keep doing this until we ideally mill over a timeline color, and then leave a land on the top of our deck. That would mean next turn, we can Sephiroth. Oh, no, that doesn't really work, though. Yeah, no, because we need a Gold Keeper to go infinite that way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what our plan is other than gain a bunch of life and then figure it out from there. I mean, I guess the good news is we can gain a ton of life. We're going to have an Umbral Collar Zealot, 2 4/5s, which... as bad as the Pure Greed Beckoners are outside of the combo, like a 4/5 is still a big body on this board. Like it can actually just win by beating down. And then hopefully we have some timeline colors that we can start warping. So maybe that's the plan, is just gain a bunch of life so we don't die and then win fairly unless we can assemble the combo again. Well, mill the starting town. Wow, where are all of our timeline colors? We have not hit we've milled quite a few cards. We are up to 42. We just have not hit a timeline color. The other problem is there's one big rule to infinite combos in Magic, and that is infinite damage beats infinite life. And the problem is, if you gain infinite life, you gotta set a number, right? Like even in paper, where you don't have to do all the clicking, you do have to choose a number. That number can be 40 billion, but then if your opponent does infinite damage, they deal 40 billion and 1, so you're still gonna die. And our opponent's a deck that, based on what we're seeing, with the Bloodletter of Aclazotz, the Starscape Cleric, it seems like they're probably trying to deal infinite damage. So this might be a case where we gain infinite life, but our opponent actually just goes infinite-er. Well, yeah, I mean, let's sack the Beckoner. We still have not found a single timeline color. This timeline color, we're just gonna, all the timeline colors must be at the very, very bottom of our deck. You know what? I think we're gonna call it good. All right, so we didn't find the timeline colors. We did end with a land on top of our deck. We might as well get it with the Umbral Collar Zealot, because if it dies, it's gonna come back into play anyway, so please block it. Bloodletter of Aclazotz. I mean, Umbral Collar Zealot is incredibly important to our deck, arguably the most important card in our deck, because we cannot do the thing without the free sack outlet. I imagine Bloodletter is one of the more important cards in our opponent's deck too, though. I would be surprised if they actually traded it. Yeah, we milled so many cards, and we just could not mill a timeline color. Well, hit ya. Down to 15, and all right, opponent, we will let you take a turn. We will let you take a turn. Go ahead, go ahead. I feel like if our opponent has land 5, we could just die, because then they could have, what, Rush of Dread or whatever to go with Bloodletter. So it is possible that we just get infinite damage. Well, you definitely get a decent chunk of life. We weren't even on the clock, so we could have kept doing this for a while longer if we really wanted to. But we went from, what, like 10 to 56, so we get like 50 life. In a lot of situations, 50 life would be enough, but you would probably win the game because of it. I don't think this is one of those matchups, though. Opponent reading our cards, wondering why they had to sit for 10 minutes while we were clicking. I was kind of wondering that too. You're not the only one, opponent. I wonder if there's a way, I wish there was a way they can make infinite combos work on Arena like paper. Like if you demonstrate a loop and then just like type in the amount of life you want to gain or something. I'm sure, I'm not a programmer, so I'm sure there's some reason why that would be incredibly hard or impossible or whatever. I know. But it would be super nice. And it would just be a quality of life thing too. Found it. drains us all the way down to 46. We draw the breeding pool. Well, so we can't get hit by the slasher or we die. So Sephiroth, opponent has 17. We're not especially close to winning. We can like Sephiroth not sack anything, attack with a Beckoner. So it's kind of a funny Sephiroth deck because we're not, like if we have the timeline colors and stuff, it's easy, but those are only really good sack fodder is like the recursive warp stuff. Yeah, we're gonna get in with one of the Beckoners. Get down the second Zealot. Get in. If our opponent blocks with Slasher, at least we don't have to worry about that combo kill getting us next turn. The stun counters will give us a little break from our worries. I mean, they also have to consider the Sephiroth, like, and the sack outlet. So we have, what, at least 5 more damage or whatever on the board. Gonna block. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, we're at 41. If they do not find an infinite damage combo, I think we're pretty good. Like, I think we win the fair game just because of our infinite life gain. If our opponent has infinite damage, then we don't. Well, unimpun the Overlord, pass the turn. Are we dead? Well, there's line number 5. Thirsty oh, that's infinite damage, isn't it? With the Sunscape Cleric. I think that's, yeah. Infinite damage beats infinite life. It has always worked that way in Magic, and it always will. Yeah, well, GG. This hand looks pretty good. Got a Blood Artist, got an Overlord and Dredger's Insight. I mean, this hand, I like hands that have Overlord and Dredger's Insight just because they're really good at finding your other combo pieces and adding value to the Conduit Pylons and adding value to the battlefield. A Desert Believer. Well, we will play a starting town, and you know what? I guess we're the aggro. Let's warp a Timeline Color. Smack you for 2. Timeline Color, I think, is a pretty good card. The stuff that Timeline Color doesn't really line up with stopping Vivi, so I don't think it's really like a top tier strategy at the moment because of that, but I do think Timeline Color is very playable. Well, that's Dredger's Insight. Do a little milling. Well, there's our Umbral Collar Zealots. I mean, that is literally, if you ever get a chance, if you decide to play this deck for some reason, if you ever get a chance, snag the sack outlet because that is the piece that there's no redundancy in the deck, and we gotta have it. We gotta have it to do the thing. Well, let's, what are we doing here? So we can play the Breeding Pool untapped. Turn on the Verge. Gives us double black. Umbral Collar Zealot, and do we want to warp or, yeah, let's just kill this. Let's kill the Summon Fenrir. I don't know how afraid we should be of Summon Fenrir. I guess our opponent not getting a counter on something is helpful about it. Island and the Eternity Elevator, interesting. I don't know what's going on, except our opponent's doing a lot of ramping, that's for sure. Well, Willow Rush Verge. Yeah, let's get down the Blood Witch. Warp the Timeline. Oh, right. Yeah. Let's impend the Overlord. Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking we could warp the Timeline Color, but it's in exile right now, not the graveyard. Ooh. All right, well, I mean, we'll take another Umbral Collar Zealot, which is fine. Although, we would have rather hit like a Kiru Goldkeeper, probably. Whew. Extinguisher Battleship, eh? Yeah. Well, there goes our board. We can sack the Blood Artist to at least surveil a little bit. Oh, maybe we're getting... Are we getting... Is this a Doppelgang deck? This might be a Doppelgang deck. Well, let's play a Dredger's Insight. I don't think anyone except me played Extinguisher Battleship. Yeah, we're gonna take the land here. I don't think we're gonna get the Pure Beckoner combo going this game. And yeah, get down the Timeline Color to ya. The recursiveness of Timeline Color is nice if it comes down to a fair game. Good way to beat an Extinguisher Battleship. Although, if our opponent finds a way to crew this Extinguisher Battleship, we do have to shoot the Sheriff, but 10-10 Flying Trample is actually a threat. I don't know if that's something their deck is trying to do. I feel like when I build Extinguisher Battleship decks, I build them to play Battleship to blow up stuff, and then eventually, I hopefully find a way to turn it into a creature. Found another Summon Fenrir. I mean, it's only Station 5. Ooh, Overlord is good. I mean, we can also try to leave up the Shoot the Sheriff. Although it doesn't seem like our opponent's really super focused on stationing the Battleship. Well, let's get down the Overlord. Do some milling. snag us a Blood Artist. I mean, if we can find a and get down a Kiru Goldkeeper, we could actually pop off that way. All right, we attack with the color. Opponent etherizes. Though 4 mana bounce your timeline color. We are gonna try to leave up the Shoot the Sheriff for now. I am scared of just getting whacked for 10 by this Extinguisher Battleship. Seems like a good way to die for no reason. So what do we need to combo? Kiru Goldkeeper is the easiest. We're nowhere near to Peregrine Beckoners, so I think that one, if we want to go that direction, we should be getting the Peregrine Beckoner back with the Dredger's Insights. Splash Portal that summon Fenrir. Okay, yeah. Actually, I feel like our opponent is playing this very weird. Like, couldn't they have tapped the summon Fenrir to station the battleship, then portaled it, got the land, tapped it again, and you have a fully stationed battleship? But, okay, opponent. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that because we'd be in trouble. Another Extinguisher Battleship. Gonna blow up our Overlord, gonna wrath the board. Yeah, our opponent apparently just has no interest in turning on the battleships, which is fine. Maybe they're playing against the odds. I want to blow up all your lands. Although they're not even targeting our lands. They keep blowing up the Overlords. I guess we Dredger's Insight number 3 to try to hit our lands. Do we need an untap land here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth it. Grab the untap land. This lets us play something and still leave up the Shoot the Sheriff. Thankfully, our opponent hasn't found like a stock up or a consult the star charts or anything. If they had a way to refuel, we'd really be in trouble, but... Oh. Well. Well, that's Doppelgang. That's all of our lands being blown up. Well, now we know why your opponent wasn't stationing. They had other plans for the battleships. I can't even be bad about that. If you get me by blowing up all my lands with Doppelgang... Tip of the hat to you. GG. And this hand looks pretty good. Got the Sephiroth, got the Zealot, we have the Warp Creature, Dredger's Insight to do some digging, so could use a Goldkeeper, could use a couple of Peregrine Beckoners. Opponent, Demiring, eh? Yeah, we're gonna, as much as I want to land, we're gonna keep the Overlord just because it's so good. And then hopefully Dredger's Insight finds us a land. If this ends with like us not hitting a land off Dredger's Insight, we're gonna very much regret keeping that Overlord on top. There are ways this goes very wrong, and if it goes wrong, we probably lose. Hidden Grotto. All right, opponent getting their Surveil on. Well, Dredger's Insight. Oh, don't counter this, please. Okay, Dispelling Exhale. That one hurts. That one hurts because we really need to hit a land there. All right, Magic Gods. All right, starting town is a wonderful, lovely, spectacular draw. Yeah, let's just get down the Blood Witch. So opponent must be some sort of dragon deck, I presume. If you're playing Dispelling Exhale, although I have seen some decks that don't play that many dragons, just like control decks that have Meringue River Regent. You're like, good enough. Tanking. Certainly, opponent. Opponent going to literally anticipate. Look at their top 3. Snag a card. That's fine. Consult the star charts. It is very good. But I've also seen some very bad ones. I actually saw someone just cast it on turn 2 the other day. Just sold 2 lands, turn 2. I imagine they had to be desperate for a land. Stock up. All right, opponent. Going to refill their hand. Well, let's play the Swamp. And, yeah, let's get down the timeline color. And I guess we might as well impend the Overlord. And yeah, we'll take an Umbral Collar Zealot. Never hurts to have 2 Umbral Collar Zealots because the first one tends to die a lot. It is a pretty big target for removal. So I'm imagining our opponent's some sort of control deck. Exactly what they're doing though. Well, they're stocking up. That's opponent, a man after my own heart, spending all their days casting card draw spells. Not progressing the game, but boy is your hand full. The best feeling in Magic. It makes you feel like you're doing something, even though in reality you should probably be impacting the board more. That's something I have very slowly started to learn from playing Commander. I'm like, yeah, it's really cool to have like 14 cards in your hand, but if you don't cast them, what is even the point? Well, hit you down to 12. I mean, we might be trying to get the fair win against the control deck here. Sack, drain. Tragic Trajectory, probably not going to be great in this matchup. Hit you to 10, play the Umbral Collars out. I mean, so this means if our opponent wraths, they end up going to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They go to 4. And then we have the Timeline Color to hit you to... Oh, Deadly Cover Up. All right. Ooh, that's actually really good for our opponent. Not only can they Deadly Cover Up to wrath the board, they can also get rid of all the Timeline Colors, which is actually huge. Oh. Opponent. All right, gonna get Sephiroth. Interesting. I was thinking you definitely go after Timeline Color because you're gonna be at a kind of low life total. Trigger, 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 trigger. So opponent goes to 5. Well, there's a Gold Keep. That's actually not bad. Play the Gold Keeper. Warp the Umbral. Hey, we're actually... Man, we need a Blood Artist now. We need a Blood Artist effect. We need a Vengeful Blood Witch or a Sephiroth, but hit you to 3, get the treasure past the turn. Hopefully we can still close this out. We're so close. Is not scooping it up. Plays the tap land. I mean, they have to kill the Gold Keeper. All right, Caustic Exhale. That does the job. Oh, if we lose this, I'm going to be so sad. We got to be able to chip in. Like, sooner or later, the Timeline Color should get the job done, right? Like, unless they can exile it or something, I feel like it is kind of a bit of inevitability, which is nice here. Opponent passes. We draw a useless land. Well, Timeline Color. Maybe you should have played Umbral Collar Zealot first, actually. I don't know. If they counter it, that's fine. Then we just warp it. The Umbral Collar Zealot just lets us sack it if they have exile removal, but I don't think they should have exile removal. We could also try to play the land and, like, put the Kiru Goldkeeper counters on it. I just don't think. Yeah, opponent has Into the Royal. With our opponent leaving that mana up, the odds of us actually getting in that hit are pretty low. And doubly so if it's actually literally lethal. The Umbral Collar Zealot. Do we even want to play the Timeline Color? Yeah, let's just pass. We'll leave up the Shoot the Sheriff. It comes down with haste next turn anyway. We don't want to expose it to another Deadly Cover-Up and get it exiled. Oh, Bonus Swamp. Oh, no! The Endstone. Oh. Who plays the Endstone? Who plays the Endstone? Who? Well, okay. That is really awkward. So, the thing about the Endstone is, yes, it's going to draw our opponent a ton of cards. That is a problem. The bigger problem is, as we just saw, on our opponent's end step, they're going to go to 10 life. So what this means in practice is, oh, well, okay. I mean, we already have one Pure Rebecconer. Maybe we keep the other one. What this means in practice is, I mean, we are still going to need to draw Blood Artist effects, like a Vengeful Blood Witch or a Sephiroth. But I mean, we might as well keep it, right? We're so close to the combo. So there's like no real point in attacking here, right? We hit for 3, but then our opponent's just gonna go back up to 10 anyway. Let's just Gold Keeper this Umbral Collar Zealot. So how can we win this game? One is our opponent not having anything, and we attack with these creatures. I'd be surprised because they have an Endstone, so they're going to draw a card anytime they do anything. Endstone's a lot of mana, but it's also kind of... Man, that was like the best Endstone I've seen. We literally had our opponent on the ropes, and the Endstone came down to end. To end us. Opponent shoots the Sheriff, kills the Overlord. Oh, we're actually going to lose this, aren't we? So how can we deal 10 damage in a turn? A whole bunch of Timeline Colors, not super realistic. An infinite combo, somewhat realistic, although our opponent's also just going to draw an absurd amount of Consult, not even Kicker, Pseudo Tutors, yeah. This one actually might be, with the 2 Pure Rebecconers, I want to wait a little bit to see if we can get out of this, but I kind of think we're dead now. The Endstone was so good. That was so good. Man, we got to play more Endstones. That was like the dream scenario. Like, when I first saw Endstone, I assumed that mode was supposed to be a drawback, right? If you're just like, if, 20 life, it's going to eat half your life away. Like, but actually, maybe it's supposed to be an upside. Well, let's build a Forsaken Miner. Yeah, I mean, we can warp Timeline. So how can we win this? Here's our plan. We can warp Timeline Colors, spending life, sack to Umbral Collar Zealot. We need to find a Blood Artist. We need to find a Vengeful Blood Witch. We need to find a Sephiroth. If we can do that, there's a world where we play the Blood Artist, we do the double Parry Beckoners, we win the game. So that's what we're playing for. So we're just spending all of our life surveilling in hopes of finding a Blood Artist or a way to get a Blood Artist. I know I keep saying Blood Artist, I just think of all the Vengeful Blood Witches as Blood Artists. Like, if you damage when something dies, you'll always be a Blood Artist to me, because that's the original, but I know literal Blood Artist is not in Standard. Unfortunately, we have spent like 1,000,000 life. We're running out of mana, and we are not finding a Vengeful Blood Witch or a Sephiroth. All right, Verge, new. Well, we're gonna keep going. I mean, I imagine we're dead anyway, right? Like, we're not going to beat this without the combo. And every turn that goes by, we're less likely to combo because our opponent's just going to have an absurd number of cards from this end stone. So it's pretty much find a way to win next turn, or we're just gonna scoop it up because we can't beat the end stone without it. This also all depends on us keeping this Umbral Collar Zealot, which is kind of a problem. Our opponent's got 6 cards in hand. It seems very possible that they can just kill the Umbral Collar Zealot, and then all of our hard work goes for nothing. I mean, I guess our hard work failed anyway because we didn't actually find the Blood Artist. We could still draw. Yeah. Consult. Again, 7 cards deep. I imagine they got the Blue Adventureland in their mana base, so I imagine they're like a mill control deck of some kind. I'm just amazed at how good this Endstone is. Like, we straight up lost to the Endstone. No questions, no doubts about it. Like, the Endstone ended us. And now it's got me thinking maybe the Endstone, maybe the like go up to 10 on your end step is way more powerful than I realized. I mean, I guess it depends on the matchup. Like, if you play against Vivi, right? If Vivi's popping off, they are going to have no problem 10ing you. Our deck, I guess, is the same thing. If we're popping off, we're not going to have a problem 10ing you. But if we're not popping off, getting in for 10 fairly in one turn is actually kind of a challenge. If they kill the Umbral Collar Zealot, we're going to scoop. All right, stock up. Does the stock up stuff. Also gets to draw another card. If they kill the Umbral Collar Zealot, we are going to scoop because there's just no way we're gonna be able to slog through this. About it. We have the like faintest hope just because we have the 2 Parry Beckoners. That like if our opponent gets greedy, taps out, we draw Blood Artist, maybe. But once there it is. There it is, and yeah, we're never gonna beat the Endstone there. Well, Endstone, way better than I thought. This hand actually looks kind of insane. We got a Goldkeeper, we got the Warp Creature, we got the Sack Outlet, we got a Blood Artist. Is this hand not just kind of the nuts? This is kind of the whole combo, right? Like, Goldkeeper, Warper, Sack Outlet, Blood Artist. That is actually, if we could just deploy this hand and have everything stick without dying, I think we actually just win. I think it's as simple as that. It's never as simple as it sounds, because people always be trying to kill our stuff for some reason. I don't know what we ever did to Jonesy, but I'm sure Jonesy, like everyone else, commune with Beavers, gonna be trying to kill our stuff, casting their removal spells. I just want to friendlily click through a combo for 20 minutes while you sit there and do nothing, opponent. Why would you try to stop that? What kind of monster are you? Yeah, let's just play the Surveilland. In the dark, do we want trajectory? Yeah, we're gonna keep it. Having a removal spell is not a bad thing. Starting Town does not give out much information other than, Planet Land. So this might be a Kona deck. I see. How do we best set up the combo? So if they are a Kona deck, when I see a Planet Land, I automatically think Kona. They might not have that much removal. We could, like, Timeline Color start chipping in for damage. I think we start running out combo pieces. We're going to run out the Umbral Collar Zealot. The downside of this move is it's much worse if our opponent has removal. If our opponent has removal, we'd much rather be hitting you with a Timeline Color. I'm betting they don't have much removal, hopefully, and then maybe. All right, Wily Duke. Definitely a Kona style deck. Also very good with the planet. Opponent gets to tap it, gets to draw a card, gets to gain a life. Well, now I'm kind of glad we kept the Tragic Trajectory, because that is a pretty good target. Yeah, let's play the Starting Town. Get down the Vengeful Blood Witch. Kill the Wily. Sadly, Vengeful Blood Witch, not a real Blood Artist, because a real Blood Artist, like Sephiroth, triggers on your opponent's creatures too, but... The Saramea. All right, well, Saramea... Gonna snag, I'm sure, a Kona. So we can't actually stop the Kona. This is actually kind of funny. We just got to try to survive the Kona. But there is a world, like, we have the combo, right? We get to play the Goalkeeper. We have the Warper in hand, get in, hit ya. There is a world where our opponent drops the Kona, drops a bomb into play, assuming it doesn't, like, gain a ton of life or blow up our board or something. I think we just win through Kona doing that. It could be, if it's Omniscience, then please don't be Omniscience. If it's Omniscience, then they just combo harder. If it's not that, all right, there's Kona. Well, let's see how bad this is. We literally have this would be like our cleanest, fastest combo kill too. Like just have all 4 pieces in hand, run them out, have them live. That never, thank you, Jonesy. That never happens. Well, let's see how bad this Kona is. Are we dead? Is it Omniscience? Please no. Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Okay, that is fine. That is the least scary thing Kona's put into play in a minute. All right, Saramea turns into creature. That's also fine. Well, I think we should do some infinite warping here. So it would be sweet if we could play the other Goalkeeper, but we don't have enough mana, right? Because the timeline color's in hand. So the way this works, if you haven't figured it out yet, we warp the timeline color. It costs 2 life. We zack the timeline color, we gain back 1 life, we hit you for 1 life. So essentially, every time we go through this loop, and we never run out of mana because of the Goalkeeper making the treasure every time we do it, every time we go through the loop, each player loses a life. So as long as we're at the higher life total, we win. That's why, like, Dredger's Insight, that lets us win no matter what the starting life total is. As long as we have enough life to warp the timeline color once, we can do it. But that's basically the idea of the deck. So as long as we have more life, we can win with just a single Vengeful Blood Witch or a single Sephiroth and this combo. If we have lower life, then we need 2 Blood Artist effects or a Dredger's Insight to go along with a Blood Artist effect. And then you just keep warping. We also get to infinitely scry. Oh, that's also something to keep in mind. There are times which we have seen where you can do a combo, but you don't actually have the finish. Like, let's say we had 2 Dredger's Insights, but no Vengeful Blood Witch. The upside of that combo is we get to surveil infinitely, which essentially means you stop and you think, what is the single best card in my deck? What is the card I want more than anything next turn? It's like a Vampiric Tutor, essentially. It's like a 4-card, very click-intensive, super janky Vampiric Tutor, but the end result is you can just surveil until you put whatever you want on the top of your deck to set up for the next turn. So there is still value even if it's not winning the game, but we will keep on warping, keep on sacking, keep on making treasures. If we had both Goalkeepers down, then we make infinite mana too, although I don't know what we need the infinite mana for. Also, Jonesy, shout out to Jonesy for sitting through all these clicks when they are literally a million, like, there's no hope. I don't even know how they could possibly win unless they're thinking we're in a timeout, which, well, hit you to 3. And I think we actually can just win by sacking our board now, right? Opponent down to 3. Actually, I think we need to warp one more warp. Timeline color. One last time. Trigger the Goalkeeper. Sack it to the Zealot. Drain you with the Blood Artist or Vengeful Blood Witch. Down to 2. Sack the Goalkeeper. Your job is done, Goalkeeper. Drain you to 1, and then Vengeful Blood Witch. Your job is also, actually, we don't even need it. We can get the Forsaken Miner. I guess you get to live Vengeful Blood Witch. That'll be a reward for it, for draining Jonesy out of the game. And, well, that's Infinite Warp. It works, sort of, ish. Sometimes. When it does work, it's pretty sweet. I will give it that, but that's stuff for the wrap-up. I'll be right back. We'll talk about it. So what did we learn this week about our Infinite Warp combo deck in Standard? And record-wise, we actually did better than I thought. I played a ton of games with the deck, and overall, we went 14 and 17 for a 45% match win rate, which I actually think is really good for the deck. When I hear like 4 or 5 card combo, I'm expecting you to win like 20, 25, 30% of the time. So winning 45% of the time, way better than I was thinking we would do. And I gotta say, the combo itself, if we can get it set up, is a pretty effective way to win the game. Well, maybe not the infinite life combo. We did have a couple of games where we actually gained infinite life, but because of the arena cap, where you're just going to run out of time before you can actually get infinite life, we still ended up losing, which is kind of awkward. But really, the combos were pretty effective. Once we get the Sephiroth out and the Umbra Collars out and start looping our death triggers, it was a pretty effective way to win the game. I was really impressed with Kara Goldkeeper in specific. I think that combo is really cool and actually pretty powerful. The only challenge with that combo is it doesn't really tax our mana. If you look at our deck, we're very close to a mono black deck, and then we're kind of splashing this 4 mana 3 color Sultai card in Kara Goldkeeper, but he is really good with the loop. I would say the biggest issue with the deck is probably what you expect, which is just inconsistency. Because we need so many different combo pieces, there's going to be some games where we just don't find them all, or we find them all and our opponent kills them and we get disrupted. So that's the biggest challenge with the deck. It's just a lot of moving pieces to put together, and the deck, it can win fairly. I wouldn't say it's horrible at winning without the combo, because you can just kind of like go aggro and Forsaken Miner and Umbral Collar Zealot and just kind of be this aggro timeline color beatdown deck, which isn't a great beatdown deck, but we can sometimes win that way. But I would say we're kind of like mid as far as a beatdown deck. So if we can't find the combo, we have some chance of winning, but the odds are not super great. So I would say overall, the deck's way better than I thought it would be. It's actually pretty fun. It's definitely super unique. It's cool to see Kara Goldkeeper popping off, and some of these cards that you just never see play, like Peregrine Beckoner. Who would have thought Peregrine Beckoner could actually win games of Standard? So it's really fun to see some of these super janky cards pop off. Overall, I'd say the deck is definitely mid in terms of how competitive it is, but it can win way more games than you'd expect. So anyway, that's Infinite Warp. That's been our Gets Odds for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will talk to you soon.